Then actually I have few more slides related to hybrid simulation, and these would be mostly related to reducing the computation time. And this can also again be generalized to regular nonlinear dynamic analysis. And actually we particularly need this short computation duration in hybrid simulation, again because we have an experimental specimen that is part of the simulation. So when the computation is happening, we also need to take care of the specimen. So what we can do when the computation is happening, either we can keep our actuators, which are the devices that we apply, that we use to apply the displacements, either we can keep them in their positions, or we can move them with according to some predicted displacements. So if we keep their positions, there may be, depending on the material type of the specimen, there could be some force relaxation, and that would also make the hybrid simulation results incorrect. And if we continue moving these, then we would need to move them according to some predicted displacements, which again may not be correct in some situations. So to not have any worries about any of these, the best way is to be able to do the computation as fast as possible. So then in relation to that, there have been some experiences to uh, reduce the computation burden and also the computation duration. And one of them is kind of straightforward, and that is related to the choice of the element that you would use. And here there's this example. So if you would choose from different elements, so you would for the case of elastic analytical substructure, or let's call it an elastic analytical model, you would obtain the same results from using elastic beam column element or force-based beam column element with an elastic section. But if you would choose one of the two, it is better to choose obviously the elastic beam column element because this is computationally less demanding. Here, it doesn't require any integration to form the stiffness matrix. The stiffness matrix is directly obtained with stiffness coefficients, whereas you would need the numerical integration here in the second option. And as I mentioned, you would obtain the same results. So why choose the one that would take more time? So that is one case about this computation duration. And the next one is related to the number command. So there are two options in terms of the number command in OpenSees. One of them is plain number, and the other one is the RCM number. So if you use the plain number, basically it doesn't change anything in terms of the numbering of the degrees of freedom, and it directly uses the node numbering provided by the user. Whereas the RCM number actually renumbers the degrees of freedom in an optimized way to minimize the bandwidth. And why is it important to minimize the bandwidth? Because if we again remember the steps of these integration methods, we at this particular step 3, uh, and this is not specific to explicit numeric integration. Any integration method would require the solution of some system of equations at some point. So then here, basically, you need to solve for this linear system of equations, and the computation duration of the solution of this linear system of equations is basically proportional to n times b squared, where n is the number of degrees of freedom and b is the bandwidth of the matrix. So obviously, since it is proportional to b squared, it is quite advantageous to minimize b as much as possible. So therefore, we would like to use RCM numbers, would prefer using RCM number in hybrid simulation and also in regular analytical simulations. Okay, so the next one that I would like to mention is related to the system of equation solver. And again, we basically need the system of equation solvers to solve for these linear system of equations. And there are several options available in OpenSees for this purpose. And here we consider how we solve for these linear system of equations. We have this coefficient matrix. And if we consider the case where this coefficient matrix is constant throughout the entire time history, the factorization of this coefficient matrix will be sufficient to be done only once at the beginning of the simulation, rather than doing it at each of the integration time steps. And basically, this can be done in OpenSees, not directly with a command through the system of equation solver command, but in this algorithm linear, when you specify factor once, it does this factorization only once at the beginning of the simulation, and that also saves you some time. And we can use this with explicit numeric or operator splitting methods, because in those methods, the coefficient matrix here would basically be constant throughout the entire time history. And since we don't have any iterations in these methods, we can use the linear algorithm rather than a nonlinear solution algorithm. And in that case, we can do factor once together with the linear algorithm here. But we cannot obviously use this with implicit numeric, because in the case of implicit numeric, the coefficient matrix would include the tangent stiffness matrix, and that would change during the time history, and therefore the coefficient matrix will not be constant. And since it is changing, you need to do the factorization in every time step. And this slide just shows some reduction in the computation time due to this single factorization option. And it shows basically you can reduce the computation time up to 1/3 of the multiple factorization case. Okay, this is the end of hybrid simulations.
Selim, that's Michael. Yeah. Good to see you again. Good presentation. I learned a lot. On slide 21, that effective mass matrix, right? If you're that assumes you're using initial stiffness proportional Rayleigh damp. If it's exactly. Rayleigh damping, right? But if one was to use tangent stiffness proportional, then this is wouldn't apply, right?
Good detail. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah, you are.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I was thinking about this the right way. But
exactly what you are thinking is the right way. It's just I didn't mention that detail. So this basically assumes, as you mentioned, the Rayleigh damping with initial stiffness proportional Rayleigh damping.
Yeah, just a continuation of the previous question. So this means this tangent stiffness matrix cannot be used for this case to calculate the damping matrix, or this is strictly for the initial stiffness matrix.
You can use it, but then you shouldn't use the factor once command, because then in such a case the effective stiffness, effective mass matrix will not be constant throughout the entire time history. So this should not prevent you from using tangent stiffness proportional damping, because it has its own advantages to eliminate these, spurious forces and all that. So if needed, obviously you should use that. But in that case, it's just you don't use factor once, like this here. You just skip this.
Okay.
Because otherwise it will not be correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Can I ask one question, please?
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Good presentation. My name is Gideon. I've been working with hybrid simulation quite recently. And my question is not related to your slides, but I want to ask a general problem that I have been noticing related to a new development in hybrid simulation, especially related to OpenSees and OpenFresco. For example, the developments done by Kim, where he used OpenFresco to perform force-based hybrid simulation. Are these new developments really available in the official version of OpenFresco, or what sort of efforts are underway to really collect all these new developments? Thank you.
Yeah, so actually that is a good question. So one of the answers to that is sometimes it is directly good to contact the person that did that development. So in that case, for your example, for force-based hybrid simulation and all that, it is, it would be beneficial to directly contact Hong Kim, who is the developer of that. So because sometimes, depending on the time of the people or the logistics and all that, not all the developments go into the standard version. And the best source of getting this information related to those, or let's say how somehow you can access their, let's say, C++ files or their own versions, I think the best way of action would be to directly try to get in contact with those people. I mean, the developers of what you are interested in, and I know most of those people. And if you cannot access them for whatever reason, you can also let me know, and I can try to put you in contact. Does this
Okay,
answer your question?
Yeah, it answers all my questions. So I need to contact every developer and try to reuse their codes.
For this, let's say you can contact Hong Kim, and if you don't get a response, for a while, just let me know, and I can try to reach.
I appreciate it. Thank you.